So this was kind of a requested video mixed with another little lore on the USS Bozeman NCC-1941. This vessel was first seen in 2368 when it emerged from a localised temporal distortion in the as of yet unexplored Typhon Expanse in the TNG episode Cause and Effect. The ship was a Soyuz-class vessel and named after the location of humanity's first contact with the Vulcans, Bozeman, Montana. Aside from its one appearance in the show, it never appeared on screens again. Wait, what? It did? It fought in the Battle of Sector 001? What the? Why would you? It's a 100-year-old model. Why would you pit that against a Borg Cube? I mean, it'll fare better than an Oberth, but that's not saying much. So, aside from those two appearances, the USS Bozeman has a lot of background information supplied in memory beta content, so I'll include some here. It was commissioned in the early 2260s, the exact date was unknown, but prior to 2262. The Soyuz-class vessel is a variant of the Miranda class and was decommissioned in 2280. Well, all Soyuz except the USS Bozeman. It was designed to incorporate expansive sensor pods, all these antenna-looking protrusions. The ship was captained by Captain Morgan Bateson, and the first officer was one Gabriel Bush, who took the position after it was refused by Hikaru Sulu in 2278. Lieutenant Mia Colt also served aboard this ship for a time as the science officer, before accepting a promotion and transferring. I like how Star Trek characters pop up here and there throughout these stories. Not long after, the Bozeman was caught in the temporal rift and flung to the year 2368, where it collided with the USS Enterprise D that had moved to investigate strange readings. Both ships were obliterated, but the antimatter explosion caused a localised time loop to occur, and the ships were caught repeating the same events until the cycle was broken by the crew, who were beginning to recall events from prior cycles. As a side note, the reason they could remember these events may be because of the localised effect of the time loop. Just speculation here, but we've seen that some species can detect changes in the time stream. Elorians, for one, can tell if an event should or shouldn't have happened, and I'm wondering if on some level others can tell too. Perhaps not if the entire course of history is changed, but when there is a smaller, local pocket of repeating time, perhaps it's far more noticeable. When catastrophe had been averted, Captain Picard contacted the Bozeman and informed them of the current year. Rather than send them back to their home time, the Bozeman had been documented as missing after all, and the crew were offered to continue their rank and career in Starfleet, likely after a period of acclimatization. We know that it was still flying in 2371, and although an older model of ship, why not? As far as it was concerned, the vessel was around 18 years old and had only 3 weeks prior undergone maintenance at a space station, though it was brought up to spec as far as it could to keep it with current times. For example, its top speed was increased from warp 6 to 9.2. The novel, Ship of the Line, has more to say on the fate of the Bozeman and her captain. Captain Bateson was debriefed by the Department of Temporal Investigations, and Ensign Philip Cray was also interviewed and actually secured a job with the Temporal Investigations and can be found on Earth Space Dock in Star Trek Online. Captain Bateson, on the other hand, was reassigned to aid in the construction project of the new Sovereign-class prototype in 2371. Originally offered command of the USS Honorius, it was renamed the USS Enterprise NCC-1701E in 2372 and reassigned to Captain Jean-Luc Picard instead. According to some sources, he was made captain of a second USS Bozeman, a Sovereign-class vessel, and spent some time overseeing the construction with Captain Montgomery Scott, the two likely bonding over their shared experiences as temporarily displaced captains. They shared the pun that their friendship went way back. I like that. It makes me smile, and it is now a part of my headcanon forever. He was later made captain of the USS Atlas, a second Sovereign-class vessel and sister ship to the Enterprise, where he engaged the Borg a second time in 2381, and actually contributed, because it helps to be on a vessel that can at least hold its own against a cube and not a Soyuz class from 2260. I mean, which admiral thought that that would help? I mean, I get they probably had little warning for the time, but... And that would explain the need for the celery. So there we have it, some canon and some extra material on the USS Bozeman, a ship that went from being nothing special to literally one of a kind. I feel for the crew that must have had a lot of adapting to do over their time skip, and I confess, I've not read the Ship of the Line novel, but I really want to now. Thanks for watching this background video on the Bozeman and her unusual legacy. I hope to see you again soon, so until then, thanks again, and goodbye.